We're all here waiting for you. We'll give him another minute to get in here. Oh, he's here. Danny's here. All right. All right, Your Honor. I have a little bit beyond 6 bells. We're ready to go.
All right, you got me now?
Yes, Danny.
Paul's muted.
Paul, unmute. There you go.
There, he's unmuted. There you go, Paul. All right. Go ahead with roll call, Tony.
Bowman,
Here.
Varner,
Here.
Schnorr,
Here.
Weller,
Here.
Brightman,
Here. All right. Could we have a moment of silence for silent prayer, and with special emphasis on the mayor and his recuperation? Amen.
Amen.
If you would stand and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everyone. I would like to see about having the approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion for the agenda approval.
Who is that, please?
Bowman.
Okay.
Second, Schnorr.
okay.
Roll call, Tony.
Roll call. Schnorr,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Okay. We'll move on to public comments on agenda topics. I don't think there'll be any. Hearing none, we'll move on to consent agenda. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Bowman, so moved.
Schnorr, second. Roll call, Tony.
Brightman,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes. Okay, no unfinished business. Moving on to new business. First reading of an ordinance to amend chapter 613-2, 613-3, 613-4, and 613-8, physical environment, floodplain management.
Yes, Your Honor,
All
I'll
right.
cover this
Do I
over
get
here.
this up?
This is a summarized version, which is allowed under Iowa code, because this floodplain ordinance changes as directed by FEMA has a lot of changes to it, and we do have a couple more changes to make. The primary focus of this change in ordinance is changing the words 100-year floodplain to is it floodplain zone? What is that phrasing?
Base flood.
Base flood.
Base.
Yes, it's a base flood. So there are a couple of places where it still says 100-year flood. So we would need to approve the agenda as amended. The ordinance as amended. There are two other places where it refers to 100-year floodplain rather than base flood, and those are the change requirements for FEMA. The other change is inserting a couple of definitions, one of which being a 500-year flood. There's a section entered in about 500-year flood, and a few more definitions that go along with that, so that's clear. This needs to be done tonight. The deadline is tomorrow, and we have to have that in place in order for people to be able to get flood insurance for next year, and so that's why we have this ordinance. We published it properly by our rules, that this was going to be done, and that we would be doing a second and third waiving the readings tonight, and that we would adopt it tonight. So what we're looking for is the approval of the summarization. We did put the entire amended ordinance up on the internet. That's been available with the corrections. And so we're looking for approval for this as the first reading of this ordinance here. We will need then a motion to suspend the rules, a motion to vote to suspend the rules, and then a motion a second to waive the second and third reading, and then we do the adoption. Does anybody have any questions about the ordinance itself?
Nope.
No, my questions were answered. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, hearing nothing else, I'll go ahead and read the ordinance. An ordinance amending chapter 613-2, 613-3, 613-4, and 613-8, physical environment, floodplain management. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Camanche, Iowa. Section 1, purpose. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend the current City of Camanche floodplain ordinance to reflect necessary changes as directed by FEMA and the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. Section 2, facts found. The City Council hereby makes the following findings of fact. Number 1, the City of Camanche, Iowa currently has a floodplain management ordinance. Fact 2, Iowa DNR and FEMA have made changes to the guidelines and requirement for the ordinance in order for residents within the floodplain areas of the city to purchase flood insurance. Fact 3, the City of Camanche deems the changes to be necessary. Fact 4, a full copy of the ordinance with changes highlighted shall be available for inspection at Camanche City Hall and on the City of Camanche website at www.camancheiowa.org/document/center/ordinance and codes. Section 3, amendment. The Camanche, Iowa Code of Ordinances is hereby amended in summary as follows. Section 613-2, general provisions adopting amended maps. 613-3, administration changes technology to more common industry phrasing and reference locations. 613-4, definitions added or amended. Section 4, repealer. All ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict with any provision of this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 5, severity clause. If any section, provision, or part of this ordinance shall be adjudged invalid or unconstitutional, such adjudication shall not affect the validity of this ordinance as a whole or any section, provision, or part thereof not adjudicated invalid or unconstitutional. And Section 5, when affected, the ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its final approval, passage, and publication provided by law. Any comments?
Your Honor,
Questions?
that last one in the amendment section, 613-4 and 613-8. Those changes include definition changes as well in 613-8. So, but we were going to approve this ordinance as amended anyway.
Right. Any other questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the ordinance as amended.
Weller, so moved.
Bowman, second.
Carter. Tony, roll call.
Weller,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
All right, I would ask for a motion for the suspension of rules so we can move on to waive the second and third reading. Do I have a
Slow
motion?
move, Brightman. Slow move, Brightman. Second, Schnorr.
Tony, roll call.
Bowman,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Okay. I would go ahead and see now we've already had it pretty well explained to us. I would go ahead and entertain a motion to waive the second and third reading of the ordinance to amend chapter 613-2, 613-3, 613-4, and 613-8.
Weller, so moved.
Bowman, second.
Tony?
Varner,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Right. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt amendments to Comanche City Ordinances, Chapter 613-2, 613-3, 613-4, and 613-8, Physical Environment, Floodplain Management. I would make that
Weller,
motion.
so moved.
Varner, second.
all right, roll call.
Yes,
Schnorr,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 4, adopt a resolution establishing a public hearing for an agreement between Clinton County 911 and the city of Camanche. You want to touch on this, Andrew?
Sure, Your Honor. This is going to be an agreement between the two government entities to care for and maintain a backup generator. We're going to accept responsibility for the maintenance of it. We're going to split the cost with emergency management or with 911. And this is the tower that they operate that helps keep our police and fire link communications going. So yeah, the agreement is going to be that we're going to end up taking care of the maintenance aspect of that. But we have to have the public hearing. So this is a resolution to establish a public hearing for the next meeting.
All right. I'll go ahead and read that resolution. A resolution establishing a public hearing for an agreement between Clinton County 911 and the city of Camanche. Whereas the city council of the city of Camanche, Iowa, must establish a date and time for a public hearing on a proposed agreement between Clinton County 911 and the city of Camanche, and whereas Clinton County 911 and the city of Camanche, Iowa have agreed in principle to terms of an agreement for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of a generator at the Camanche Water Tower located at 9th Street and Highway 67 in the city of Camanche, Iowa. Now therefore be resolved at the public hearing for the proposed agreement between Clinton County 911 and the city of Camanche is hereby set at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 via electronic meeting. Do I need to read the
Nope.
to attend?
No,
No?
you're okay, as
Okay.
proposed.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Schnorr.
Second, Weller.
Tony?
Bowman,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Varner,
Yes. Right, thank you, I appreciate that. All right, approved recommendation of City Hall Expansion Subcommittee for Architect, RFP.
Your Honor, we're gonna
I might
ask to
touch on
table
that.
that. If the committee has not come to a conclusion as to which architecture firm, we're still doing some research on that to select for our City Hall expansion, so I'm requesting that we table this at this time.
All right. Anybody having a problem with tabling it for now?
No, it needs to be tabled.
It does.
If I can give an update, Chief Reed and I today visited the city of Tiffin. And that building was built by was designed by one of the companies that submitted a proposal to us. And I believe Chief Schutte visited LeClaire, and we have a couple other visits that we're going to have people from the committee performing over the next couple of days. So we're well on our way. We're looking to make the best informed decision on what fits best for the city of Camanche. But I will say that we received 5 quality bids from highly qualified architecture firms.
Yep. And believe me, all of them were impressive. It's not going to be an easy thing.
No.
Anybody have any questions or comments on that matter of business? If not, we'll move on to item number 6, review bid notes for loan proposals for City Hall expansion and direct resolution accordingly.
If you would give me a second, Your Honor, I need to pull up that document for the public and for you folks to
No
see.
problem.
And here it is.
Jen.
So this is the, we received 2 submissions for bid. Both were received by
Andrew, I'm
email.
not seeing it. Oh, there it is.
We received it by email, both submissions by email. The first one, both of these were drafted up by Bob Jostin for us, our bonding attorney. Remember, there's 2 notes. There's one for $400,000 and one for $200,000. The first submission here is from Citizens First Bank. You can see their proposed rate is 2% per annum for the $400,000, and the $200,000 was also 2%. We also received a bid from First Central State Bank at 1.55% on $400,000 and 1.55% on $200,000. So staff recommendation would be to have council direct us to enter into the draft up the resolution for the to accept the bid from First Central State Bank at 1.55%.
Okay. Do I have a motion for that?
Schnorr, slow move. Bowman
Carter?
second.
Okay. Tony?
Sorry. Varner,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
All right. Looks like we're in business.
That
I
is
would
an
like to say
excellent,
that's all.
excellent interest rate. That is pretty phenomenal.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That's free money, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll say this. A lot of stuff has been brewing in my head over the last couple of days about the potential of what else. What else should we be looking at doing if the interest rates are going to be that low? So we may have some discussion about that at the next meeting or two. Because honestly, you're right, Councilman. That's free money. That's way less than the rate of inflation, and
Yep.
we ought to be looking. If we have these projects in the capital improvement plan, it would be in the public's best interest for their money to utilize the low interest rates to maximize their payback on that money.
Right.
Yeah. And we need to stay on top of that because from what I understand, my research I've been doing, it's going to get a little better too. So,
No, definitely something we ought to look at.
And the input I've also received is that the pencils are getting really sharp on the contractor's side, and although they may be having some supply side issues, I think overall they're getting pretty hot for work, and we may be striking while the iron is hot. And again, this is a maximum benefit for the taxpayers' investment in the city.
yep, I agree.
Yeah, if we can do it on cheap money, we might as well do it.
Yep, I agree. Okay,
All
that's all I
right.
have.
No further discussion on that. We'll move on to item number 7. Adopt a resolution establishing a policy for the selling of right-of-way on public avenues where 100-foot right-of-way exists. You want to touch on that, Andrew?
Sure thing, Your Honor. This comes from the request from someone over on Second Street who wanted to purchase some right-of-way where we have 100-foot right-of-way. And we had this discussion a few meetings ago about being willing to sell some right-of-way on the avenues. And now that Beacon is available to us, it's easier to tell who has those purchases and who doesn't. So why not go ahead and do it? There is precedence for selling it at fair market value, but the question then becomes, what does fair market value consist of? Because that 20-foot piece of property means nothing to anybody other than the city and that person who that property abuts to. So we decided to come up with a dollar amount that seemed fair. 50 cents per square foot seemed fair because the alternative would be the land value assessed, and that would be $2.86 per square foot. This policy, as long as you have a policy in place that allows you to make the determination on what you want to charge for it, and at $2.86 per square foot, this property owner and any other property owner would be spending a heck of a lot more than a few $100 to buy some right of way that they'll never use for anything other than for their property. And it would never, the property transfers, purchases would never be done because it would be so ridiculously high. In this case, we're requiring them to buy no more or no less than 20 feet. They must buy the entire 20 feet and the entire length of their property. So they can't only buy part of it, they have to buy the whole length. At 50 cents a square foot, that comes out to about $900 for this particular property. If we did $2.86 per square foot, it would cost this individual $5,000 to purchase that 20-foot strip of right-of-way. That means nothing to them, or nothing to anyone other than them and us. And we're not using it. So 50 cents per square foot seemed reasonable. And we will use this policy then to be able to move forward to enter into a transaction to sell the right-of-way to that particular individual and anyone else who has on the riverside of 3rd Street who has 100-foot right-of-way on Avenue attached to their property. And I don't know, Randy Current, if you wanted to chime in and add anything else, feel free. Did I touch on everything?
I believe so. I mean, you also have in there that the buyers would pick up any potential costs for the city's legal expense, for any abstracting, if there was necessary surveys. One thing that I thought of just today was that in a 100-foot right-of-way, sometimes you find that the street is not exactly in the middle of the 100-foot right-of-way, so that they could be off 5 foot one way or the other. And so, I mean, you may have to have a time when you have to tinker with this a little bit, just to make sure you don't end up with a small strip or something. Hopefully the streets are all within the 60-foot right of way, and you don't have any issues with that. I'm not aware of anything down in Camanche, so a 60-foot right of way still should protect the city, even if the street is not in the exact middle of the right of way. You may have 25 feet on one side and 35 feet on the other side of the center line of the street, but you still got plenty of room there. Otherwise, this is pretty much goes along with how other communities have done it in the past by establishing a procedure.
Right. Anybody else have any questions or comments regarding this resolution? If not, I will read it.
Your Honor?
Yes.
This is Brightman. I just got a couple of questions. I guess, I mean, I understand what we're doing here, but did this homeowner get a permit to put the pool up?
Yes, and some miscommunications happened there with some city staff, and then some interjection. I think some how do I want to say this? Some words were misinterpreted as they were told, yeah, it's a go, but what was a go was the process of purchasing right-of-way, and the homeowner mistook that for it's a go, put up your pool, which was not the go. So they have since drained it, and because they also put it in the forward right-of-way on the street side, which wasn't allowed, and that was into the right-of-way. So a lot of those things are going to change. He has to move the pool, and he can't fill it until he puts up a fence. I have another agreement that I had him sign for that particular property, and this is the way we would move forward with the other properties too, because this takes a little bit of a process to go through. And this individual will be allowed to put their pool up into the city right of way, but they have to put the fence up first, just like on the avenue side. Just like the ordinance says, they have to put a fence up first, and they're going to have to name the city as an additionally insured on that until they purchase the right of way. So they have to put us on their insurance because the pool would technically be in our right of way, and so would their fence. And if something happens in that pool, they have to name us as additionally insured, or we're not going to get sued, excuse me, by someone doing that with their pool. We expect to have this all done within the next 2 months. The document that he signed is very clear as to the steps that he has to take first in order to get all this stuff done. And if he doesn't get it done by October 1st to our satisfaction, then you got to take it down, and it does that pool won't be allowed.
But and the reason I'm asking, I drove by there the other day, I think Sunday afternoon, and I looked at that and I asked myself, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point that we're now making a taxpayer tear their pool down? Because did they get a permit? Why isn't the fence up first? The pool was full of water. Now we know they're in the right of way. Now they're having to drain the water, tear the pool down. How did we get ourselves in this position?
I'm glad to go over that, Andrew.
Yep.
If I could.
Sure.
I can tell you exactly what happened, Mr. Brightman. So the permit was issued. It was made very clear what the requirements would be: the purchase of the land, the fence, the location of the pool, that they could use. They would be able to put it in the right of way on the avenue side, but not on the 2nd Street side. Okay. And here's what happened. So that permit was issued for the pool. knowing that he was going to have time to do that. And then he got a call from the pool people that said, hey, you don't have to wait till August to get your pool. We can come tomorrow and do it. Okay, come do it. So he didn't want to wait. So he told them to go ahead and do it. And when they came, they took the liberty to move the pool, turn it a little bit, and it ended up encroaching on the right of way. So all of this falls back on the person who was clearly explained what needed to be done and went ahead and did his own thing. So I'm not sure what information may have been passed along, but that's what happened. He was told very clearly that the right of way, he could not go out past the front of his house, not his porch. And you can look on Beacon, which may not be perfectly accurate, but it is in this case. He said, don't go out past the point of the house. Well, when they turn that pool just slightly, it goes 5 foot into the right of way of the city on the 2nd Street side. So yeah, the permit was issued, but it was also made very clear what was supposed to happen. And the timeline was rushed by the homeowner because he had the opportunity to get the pool in the next day.
Okay, thanks for the clarity, Chief.
Yeah, so like I said, it's been an ugly mess. And like I said, but I would say the onus is on the homeowner. He's the one that created the mess for himself by just taking some liberties and thinking, oh, it's okay. Well, that doesn't work that way. So it's been a nightmare for us. It's been a nightmare for him, but he created the situation in my mind.
Yep, nope, I agree. And I just wanted to get the clarity out there. So I'm glad you spoke up.
No, I appreciate that because like I said, a lot of times things get, pointed in different directions and that it certainly wasn't on the city. Like I said, we did issue the permit, but it was made very clear the process and the steps that need to be taken. And he just kind of jumped ahead and kind of messed things up. So.
Okay, yep, that clears it up then. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this issue?
No.
All right, hearing none, I'll read the resolution. A resolution establishing a policy for selling of right-of-way on public avenues where 100-foot right-of-way exists. Whereas the city of Camanche, Iowa has a number of 100-foot right-of-way avenues as established in an older platted development in the city, and whereas the city of Camanche, Iowa has determined that normally a 60-foot right-of-way is sufficient for residential subdivisions, and whereas City of Camanche, Iowa has determined it may be in the city's best interest to allow for the sale of a portion of the existing right-of-way to the adjacent property owner at an established price. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the policy for the sale of right-of-way on the avenue where 100-foot right-of-way exists is hereby established as follows. The sale, number one, the sale of land may be offered to the adjoining property owner. Number two, the sale price will be calculated at 50 cents per square foot. Number three, the sale must include no less and no more than 20 feet for the entire length of the property. Number four, the buyer shall pay all publication fees, legal fees, surveyor work, recording fees, and any other fees or costs incurred by the city of Camanche in order to sell said right-of-way and comply with the requirements of the state of Iowa. Number five, the buyer shall enter into a legal agreement with the city upon request to purchase, thereby obligating the buyer to pay all fees and costs incurred by the city, even if the transaction is not completed. Number six, the policy will not apply in the city council in reasonable discretion determine retaining right-of-way serves the city's best interest. I did notice a typo. Where did I see it? And now thereby be it resolved. Down at the bottom, hereby established as follows. Hereby is not spelled properly.
Oh, that's okay.
So I'd entertain a motion to accept the resolution with that correction.
Brightman.
I'll make that motion, Weller.
Bowman second.
Right, Tony?
Weller,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Garner,
Yes.
Okay, so my
Okay.
next step will be for the, to contact the homeowner, let them know that happened, and the next meeting we'll do a public hearing for the sale of the right-of-way, for him specifically. He has made that request, and like I said, signed this agreement, and, he's got some work to do, before we're gonna go crazy and getting all that stuff done, but, now that we have this policy in place, we can move forward with that process and hopefully get this, situation resolved.
Okay. All right, moving to the last item for tonight, and item number 8, authorize Civil Service Commission to begin the process of advertising and testing for a certified list for police officer. Chief Reed, do you have any comments on that?
Your Honor, we don't have any current openings, but our list, the 2 available candidates left on our list, we believe have taken employment in other areas. So we don't have currently anybody on a certified list for hire. So if we would have positions in the next year, we wouldn't have a list. So it's to start that process, which is a very lengthy process, to try to establish a list for possible future hires.
Yeah, it cuts the time down quite a bit if you got a list.
Yes.
Okay. Do we need a motion to approve that, authorize?
Yes, Your Honor, that would be preferred.
I'll entertain a motion to authorize.
Bowman,
Weller,
so
so
moved.
moved.
Bowman, second.
All right. Tony, one last time.
Bowman,
Yes.
Brightman,
Yes.
Garner,
Yes.
Weller,
Yes.
Schnorr,
Yes.
All right. Moving to communications. That's the end of the business. Moving to communications from the city attorney. Anything, John or Randy?
Nothing that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Okay. You good too, John?
We're okay.
Okay.
There.
Scaring me, John.
I think I got unmuted, yes.
Okay.
Well, we have nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Communication city administrator.
Your Honor, I have nothing at this time.
All right. Communication from the mayor. Well, I guess we'll do Mayor Pro Tem, and I've got nothing at this time. So communications from city council members and department heads. Let's start with Dave.
Your Honor, I have nothing to add tonight.
Okay. Marty,
No, I have nothing.
Danny,
I just got a question, I guess, for Andrew, where we're at with, the hunting and, fireworks.
Well, Camanche
Other
Days
than
did
your
not make
notes?
any specific requests to me. We had talked about forwarding them some money. I need to have a discussion with Brenda Larkey about that. You know, she sent me the request today asking, how much are you guys giving us? And I don't know. We need to have a conversation about it. She needs to come in and actually see me or call me on the phone and not just Facebook message me. So I will reach out to her and we will have a conversation about that. There's some things we need to discuss. The most important part that I want to express to them is, you know, they're in the, if you look at last month's legal bill, it was quite substantial in having to cover the attempt to do Camanche Days. So I want to make sure that they understand exactly how much we already have invested in this situation at hand and how we progress going forward with any of our future plans for future Camanche Days, how we have to try and control that, especially if things are going to be different in the environment, that before they go making any plans, we need to make sure that that the city's okay with what they're doing. So there's some discussions that need to be had about that first. But I also do have discretionary spending at my availability, certainly within the dollar amount that was tossed about. And I do have a fund that we can pull that out of, but I want to make sure that before I do that, that I've shared that communication with the Camanche Days people.
What do we generally have budgeted on for Comanche Days?
We send them $3,000 every year, and we sent them $3,000 in January of this year, which is last fiscal year, for the current Camanche Days, and we do that in January so that they have it available to them before Camanche Day starts. So we have budgeted for them for next year to pay them in January another $3,000. We can pay them that now, and that would be fine, but then they wouldn't be getting anything next year. Or we can make an additional payment to them. And there's additional funding available. I want council to understand, we budget certain dollar amounts for community betterment, certain budget amounts for economic development, and there's also a budget for travel and training. And that usually covers me going to conferences or us going to League of Cities and stuff like that. And we're not doing any of that this year. So there's room in the budget to be able to utilize for that purpose. We could just shift the responsibility around in the different line items because it all comes out of the same department. So we can do that.
So we
And
don't have
it's
to
not-
discuss that at council.
Well, we won't have a council meeting before they need money. And you don't need to, it doesn't take an amendment of the budget to do that. Because you're not changing any dollar amount that your total dollar amount that you're spending. Whenever you amend the budget, you only have to change the certain line. You only have to amend it if you're changing, overspending certain line items. If you're just shifting responsibility from one line item to another, that doesn't take an act of council or anything like that. We can just do that internally.
Okay. That's what I thought. Thank you.
But I think what I'm going to do is
Thank you.
is whatever we're going to come to an agreement on within my spending limit, it's going to come out of community betterment. So we at least have a line item.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Sure thing.
I appreciate that. I wanted people to be aware of how we were gonna do that.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dan?
No, that's all I got for now.
Okay. All right, Brent, you got anything?
Yeah, no, I was just, when I was reviewing the bills, I'm just tagging on with Andrew there. He knows how I feel about the whole attorney fees for the Camanche Days thing, so he knows where I stand on it. I was very disappointed in how all that turned out, and basically doubled our attorney fees for the month. So, and the other thing I thought about is, with all the COVID stuff going on, if there was a way that we could, with the city workers, what they've had to gone through here in the last couple months, if we could somehow give them some type of appreciation lunch or something like that for, we had to double staff on the police, and the fire's been having to suit up all the time for all these calls. And I think it's just nice to give them some type of appreciation that we, we're still thinking about them and supporting them and through all this crisis stuff.
Well,
So just thought,
Councilman, we usually do that, and we usually have it catered in by Hy-Vee. I think we can do buffet stuff now, but it still calls into question everybody gathering at the same time and being in the same room together. So we still have issues with that, but we certainly will. Once we feel like we're in the clear, that it certainly is one of those employee appreciation things that we will look into getting done.
yeah, just make sure we keep it in the back of our minds and not forget about it.
Well, Councilman, it involves food. It's in the front of my mind.
Understood.
I think it's a
You
great
can
idea,
tell.
Brent.
That's all I
It's a
got.
great idea. Okay. All right, department heads. Tony, do you have anything?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Okay. Chief Reed, Chief Shooty, do you have anything?
Chief Reed has nothing. I just have a couple things just to update yourself, council, the rest of the team. The civil service process for a certified list. We had our agility test and written test this past Saturday. I know for a fact both candidates passed the physical agility test. We're still awaiting their written test results that we hope to get back maybe by the end of the week or early next week, so that we'll have some more information to pass along. And then also the building project, they came yesterday and dropped off materials. They framed up our vestibule today, and they'll continue to work on getting those things done so that they're ready when we need them. So that's kind of where we're at. So lots of things happening at the fire department.
Excellent. Excellent. Anna, do you have anything? Anna?
Yeah, I'm trying to,
Okay.
Anna, you're unmuted. Oh. She just remuted herself. Everybody stop touching stuff. There.
okay, thanks. We're doing really good at the library. I mean, we're closed now to the public again, but we're still busy with curbside. Things are going really well. We, this summer, we did the, activity bags for the kids, and that went over really, really well. I don't know if anybody checks out our Facebook page, but there's a lot of pictures of little kids doing the activities and the STEM kits. And so it's been a really pretty busy summer for us, considering we didn't get to do the summer reading program the way we normally do. So we are just waiting for, yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been a good summer. We're just waiting for all of this to hopefully, I don't know, change, get a vaccine, something, so that we can start things going back to the way more normal, a new normal, something, so that we can, things can be a little bit more normal. But yeah, things have been good.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad to see that the community has the library support. That's important, especially this time of year.
Yeah, we're still, I think we need to let people know, we're trying to let people know that we can do the homebound stuff. We're not hearing from those people as much as I would like, but otherwise we're still hearing from a lot of people.
Excellent. Anybody got any questions for Anna? If not, Mark, do you have anything?
Oh, yeah, I'll just give you a quick update on 3rd Street. If you guys haven't heard, we had a sinkhole turn into a bigger project than we anticipated. The sewer main's all fixed, and it's all flowing downhill again. So the street's still closed in that area. Gas company had some work to do on the hole, and the weather kind of held them up. We're hoping to have that section opened up tomorrow. So if you haven't heard, we had a big sinkhole on 3rd Street, and we got it all fixed. Part of the road's still closed right now, but we should have it open up tomorrow, just for your information. And that's about all.
Okay.
Your Honor, I wanted to point out and thank Mark for his work in getting that, working with Canadian Pacific and getting that crossing done. If you haven't seen, the crossing on Park Drive going down to the boat ramp is now paved. I've tasked Dan Solschenberger and our rep from FEMA to work on getting the mitigation stuff together for Park Drive so we can get that done. What we may have, and I see that the frontage road in front of Mr. Ricketson's place and the neighboring property has been repaved. That's a private drive, so that was on them. So if we get Park Drive done, we'll have the entire area going down to the boat ramp, including the crossing and the boat ramp, repaved. That'll look really nice.
Excellent.
So thanks, Mark, for getting that done.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah, and they did get the rest of their punch list done down at Swan Slough too, with the pinning of the parking blocks, moving in the signs, finished painting of the stripes. So I think pretty much it's all complete down there.
Yeah, hey,
It
Mark,
looks nice.
while I'm thinking about it, and you brought that up, how are they supposed to get a mower in to mow that over those curb stops around that pole?
There's no grass there.
There's weeds there.
No, did they parking block around both of them?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well,
So,
we'll probably take, my plan was to take that grass out of there and put some river rock and stuff in it. So that's what
Well,
we're still
that-
just address that up. But the
that
one
would
that's
be
in the middle of
fine.
the parking lot, that's the only
Yeah.
one they were supposed to put stuff around.
Yeah. River Rock would be fine if we can mulch and even make it, put a couple of nice plants down there or something that, low maintenance bushes. That would be fine too.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Your
thank
Honor, I
you.
do have one thing I forgot.
I'm sorry?
I have one thing that I forgot to mention when it was my turn, if I could.
Sure, of course.
Just an update, that defibrillator project that I told you about, that we had those used defibrillators that were donated by ADM Artco here 6 months ago or whatever, and then we got a grant from Alliant Energy. Those are now all in service, so there's one located in the library, City Hall, and Public Works, I know, has mounted the one at the community center, and then the other one is in the fire command vehicle. So there's 4 new AEDs in town that are all compatible with what we have at schools and churches and compatible with what we carry on the ambulance. So that project is done.
Very good. Anything else before we go to public comments? If not, let's go to public comments.
Your Honor, give me a second and I will unmute the public that's here. Okay, I see that's all we have unmuted. So we're open for public comments.
Do we have any public comments? If you do, please identify yourself. All right. Not hearing any, we'll go ahead and close it to public comments. And before we adjourn, council members' request for placement of matters on future agendas. Until the mayor's up and around, you probably get a hold of me on that. Once the mayor's back in action, then fall back on him for that. If there's nothing else, I move we adjourn.
Great. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.